Hello, welcome back. I will be recapping week 4 of my journey of The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and week 4 was all about integrity. In this chapter about integrity, Julia Cameron calls the reader to look into her most deep thoughts, deep impulses, and be extremely honest with herself. So I have a lot of cool highlights that I'd like to go over, and then I'd like to speak about the tasks that I did as well. So let's get into the video. The birdies are chirping. Starting with the reading, the first topic that Julia talks about is honest change. And I'll just read some of my highlights from this subject. She really wasn't afraid to hit hard on the topics that people want to run away from. I actually hated reading this subject. It made me feel like I was doing something wrong. It made me feel like I wasn't making honest change in my life, and it just made me feel guilty, and it kind of exposed me to parts of myself, part of my life, and some of my relationships that I'm really not happy in, and that's just really daunting. And hard to think about, hard to talk about. So yeah, just expect that in week 4. Julia is not afraid to punch it. As we notice which friends bore us, which situations leave us stifled, we are often rocked by waves of sorrow. We may want our illusions back. We want to pretend the friendship works. We don't want the trauma of searching for another job. And she talks about how these honest changes come up in our morning pages. We get to observe our thoughts and see which problems are repeating for us, dig a little bit deeper into our problems every single day or with every single page. We kind of expose more of the problems that we need to tackle, the problems that we're letting just happen, and we're keeping ourselves in these cycles. She's saying that morning pages are the tools that help us make the honest change, and it's gonna be painful. So on the topic of morning pages, she says, the morning pages point the way to reality. This is how you're feeling. And what do you make of that? And what we make often is art. I love this. I was just talking to my sister last night that there is no prerequisite to be an artist. You don't have to have healed yourself to be an artist. In fact, it's better if you're unhealed when you start becoming an artist, because then your healing, or your journey, whatever your goal is, your journey is seen throughout your art, regardless of the media you use. Our feelings that come up in the morning pages fuel the artwork that we create, or that I create. And I could say that's really true. This week of integrity wasn't really fun. It was quite hard, and it made me look at a lot of deep, dark stuff inside me that is hard to look at. And thus the art that I've created this week, the writing that I've done, the conversations that I've had, they've all been very introspective and sad. Then Julia talks about once you discover this honest change you need to make, you're going to go through something like emotional pyrotechnics. There's going to be lots of emotion flare-ups. You can randomly cry, you can randomly laugh. You're just kind of going to be a mess emotionally, a little all over the place. And also you may be seized by this need to search and discard things, to throw out a bunch of your clothes, to clean up your house. Also, it kind of mimics the luteal phase a little bit for me as a woman. Before menstruation, there comes this period that is normally called PMS, where a woman is extremely good at organizing and is nitpicky and needs things to be perfect in a certain way so that she can be ready for hibernation and menstruation. And so this little section where she talks about this seizing need to search and discard reminds me of the luteal phase, and just how everything is a cycle and how everything is cyclical. And yeah, that was just a random little tangent. At the end of the honest changes portion, she mentions that a stronger and clearer me is emerging as an affirmation. And I think that's a nice way to keep positive when you're trying to have integrity. The next subsection in the reading is called reading deprivation. For most blocked creatives, reading is an addiction. We gobble the words of others rather than digest our own thoughts and feelings rather than cook up something of our own. I hated reading that also. I read more this week. So the goal was to not read anything this week or digest any other person's media this week. I have never read so much in my life. I have read 3 novels this week. 3 novels. Thousands of pages. So it was really silly to me that this was a task, because I just got off my semester. I wanted to come home and read all the novels that I've been waiting to read, and so I did, and I didn't do reading deprivation. Oops. But I can do it next week or maybe in another week. I just don't really see the point of reading deprivation because I wrote a lot. I actually came up with a lot of stories and I felt inspired by the reading that I was doing. So maybe this sort of reading deprivation wasn't meant for somebody like me. Maybe it was meant for somebody else. But also the resistance that I'm showing the camera right now and the kind of anger that I have towards it is exactly something that she also talks about in the chapter, that all of her students were really mad at her when she mentioned it in her class at the university she was teaching in. And so I'm one of those angry students saying, what do you mean? Reading is vital, necessary for artists. So I totally failed that. And that ends the reading takeaways from chapter 4 from week 4. And now we'll go into the task takeaways and what I learned from the tasks this week. Before I jump into the task takeaways, I just want to say, if you have The Artist's Way, if you have the book, I really recommend opening the conversation to your family in my particular case, because I've spent my whole life with my family. And yet I don't know what they desire, what they want from their life, from their futures. You know, we just live kind of day to day and go through our routines. But sitting down with my mom and asking her, describe your ideal environment, and her just unleashing her imagination onto me, it was so beautiful. So I really recommend using The Artist's Way for reflection, but also using it as conversation starters with people that you want to know more about, because maybe you don't really know the people around you as well as you should. And that's what I got out from this week, because I flew to home and as I was doing the tasks, I just kind of did them with the people around me, and it was really, really lovely. And there was a moment where I was sitting at the table doing my Artist's Way reflections, and my dad was creating some wire wrapping amazing piece of art, and it was just a lovely, lovely moment, because when you are creative, you are inspiring others to be creative, for sure. Describing my ideal environment was task 1. I described the farm, the rescue farm that I'll have one day, a cow grazing in the meadow as the sun is rising or setting, I didn't really specify, and there's warm lighting in the room and soft cushions and a beautiful carpet. This is my living room. This is where I spend a lot of my time. Maybe I'm hanging out with my friends or my partner. Maybe I'm eating or watching a movie. It's just very cozy and very safe, and I can see my animals out in the pasture. Task 2 was to time travel and describe yourself at 80. I described myself on my little rocking chair and watching my family prance around me in their youth with animals and piano playing. Maybe one of my grandkids plays the piano, or maybe someone singing and they take after me. And I described myself as somebody who is still active, who's fit, who likes to walk around, who can do her own farming and makes really yummy food for everyone. It was really nice, and part of this task was to also write a letter as your 80-year-old self to your current self. That was really great. I just kind of gave myself encouragement, and I said, keep doing what you're doing a great job, keep looking inward. If you don't go within, you go without. Just keep exploring yourself, learning about yourself, and learning to trust. I love loving to trust, though. That's cute. There was also a task to look at your surrounding environment and see if there's a place where you have a really sacred space. in Prague, where I live, in my apartment, I absolutely do. I have a little altar where I do my meditations. I have a place for my yoga. I have a beautiful desk. I really situated my room to where it's completely my palace, and I have a little spot, a little section for each way I'm feeling, you know. But back in San Diego, I don't have that space right now, and so I couldn't really describe it, nor could I create it. I guess sitting here on this bench is really nice. She also asked us to take a second look at our life pie from, I think it was week 2 or week 1, and to see if any of it has changed. And task number 6 was to write our artist prayer. So I will read mine to you now. Oh, ever-expanding universe, heal me and drape me in the divine feminine. Guide me and shape me in the divine masculine. Take this pain that courses through me, stretch, pull, tear, mend until I'm home again. I give my life to my unique purpose. I follow the path my intention paves. I offer my talents onto you. I shed my clothes. I speak with integrity. I open myself to your wisdom. I begin perfectly whole. I end perfectly whole. Help me remain in abundance. Nudge me toward true experience. We are one and the same. I create all. Aho, and so it is. Just kind of mind spouted that out. And the final 3 tasks, which I did but kind of skimmed over. Open your closet and throw out things you don't need. I'm not where my closet is, so I couldn't do that one. Look at a situation in your life that you're stuck with. What is the payment, or what is the payoff of staying in that situation? So I wrote about that. And then finally, it was, if you broke your reading deprivation, write about how you did it. I totally binged. I completely read so much. So yeah, I wrote about why exactly I wanted to read and what I feel like I got from it, and I just kind of complained about that task in general. And as far as the check-in goes, I did my morning pages every day, but not always in the morning. It was Christmas this week. I kind of was waking up at random times, and you know, I have a baby at home now, so I'm trying to help around when I can, so I can't really go with my own schedule. I can't demand that I'm doing this thing in the morning every single morning the way it's so easy to when I'm in my apartment in Prague and I'm just chilling with my roommates, because I really want to get the full experience with my family while I'm home. So I've been writing at random parts in the day, still 3 pages a day, and I've actually been loving doing my morning pages in the evening sometimes and doing an evening stream of consciousness. That's been really nice because I feel like I'm more creative in the evenings. So actually my journaling has turned less into a stream of consciousness and more into actual fictional story building, world building, character building. So I'm thinking of taking the stories that I've started in my evening pages to my laptop to start writing a story, and then fall back into the morning page exercise of brain draining and observing your thoughts before the day starts, because I understand the benefits that come when you do it in the morning, and I respect them. I did do my artist date this week. I went to Barnes & Noble, and they were having a big sale on hardcover books. So I went there, I bought 3 books with some money I got for Christmas, and I'm so excited. I'm already I did that yesterday. I'm already a fifth of the way through one of them, and I met these 2 lovely girls. They were so sweet. They shoved 2 more books into my hands. They said, you've got to read these ones. So I took them. I said, thank you very much. And we were all on our way out of Barnes & Noble with stacks of books in our hands, and it was so cute. I'm trying to think if I've had a synchronicity this week, and I'm not thinking of anything, so I don't think I have. This week's been cool, you know, but I don't think I've had a synchronicity. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week with my recap of week 5, discovering and uncovering a sense of possibility. I'm really excited. going from integrity, which is very much an inward look, versus possibility, which is an outward look. It's great. So thank you for watching again, and I'll see you later.